Live to the planet.
Planet, are you listening?
Daily Coast Radio on netrootsradio.com proudly presents
David Waldman.
Or Kagro.
Or X.
Or Kagro X.
Let's just call him David.
So listen up. Here's David Waldman. It's the Kagro in the Morning Show.
Hey, good morning. It is the Kagro in the Morning Show. You're listening to Daily Coast Radio on netrootsradio.com. We are in Charlotte. I'm here with Armando. Armando, I'm going to unmute your mic and see if you can work it out. Let me hear you.
Yeah, I'm here in Charlotte, too.
Okay.
Don't forget me.
All right. Well, everything seems to be in working order. You tell me, you guys, if you can hear him fine. I've got it rigged up so that his mic should be working, but I can't get him through my headphones. But he's right next to me, and I can hear him. That should be fine. Everything's cool? Okay. I got the thumbs up from Armando. We are on the ground, 4 floors up from the ground in Charlotte. We always like to say we're on the ground, but this time we're at least on the same piece of ground. You know, we're set up in a makeshift studio here in the PPL, which, does anybody have an idea what PPL actually stands for? I probably should have looked that up. Once again, unprepared. But hey, let me tell you, it was a scramble yesterday to try and figure out where we were going to stay. Even our hotels were up in the air.
Yeah,
so,
we're here at PPL. We parked a little further than we should have because apparently
least of our
people who run
problems.
this place didn't know that there's a garage attached to their building here.
That was kind of an oversight, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want to hang too much on the staff of the PPL before I get anything. Right before I get any of the coffee.
We
and
have Raven on. Let's complain about it.
But, I asked a couple of staffers who are either direct. Well, you know what? I don't think I asked anybody who was directly connected with the PPL, and I asked about parking. And, people had been on site, but who knows what they remember. It's a confusing place. And so we were thinking, all right, there's no parking. And you know how it is with conventions downtown. You're going to get down there, and there's just going to be nothing. And yet there was. So there was parking nearby, and we grabbed everything we could see. But, look, it worked, and that's the good thing, except, we get there to the door of this PPL, and what is attached to the building that it's in but a parking garage. And what is the name of the parking garage? Over the door, and they have a little shop connected to it. It's called The Garage. So when you call and you ask, hey, is there a garage nearby? And there is a garage nearby, and they don't tell you there's a garage nearby. Even though it's labeled The Garage, you start to wonder about what's going on. All right, you know what? Let me test some. We'll test levels here. That's all right. Well, I have a mystery guest, which we'll test our levels with. Mystery guest, will you sign in, please?
Test 1 2 test. This is Raven Brooks with Netroots Nation here.
Okay. See? All right. We'll see how those levels are coming through. Justice, give us a thumbs up if things sound like they're okay. But, yeah, Raven, you're here on the ground here with folks. You know what? I'm going to get you. You'll have to lean in nice and close with that mic, or else I could swing this one over sometime. But we'll try this out a little bit.
Does it work now?
Should be okay. It's hard for me to monitor the levels, but we'll proceed as though everything is working beautifully.
Sounds like a plan.
Your mic is probably going to be a little bit low because it's a cheapo.
This is a pretty nice setup, though, I have to say.
Okay. Well, yeah, I brought the nice-looking boom and everything, and I should have brought another one for you. Okay, Raven, when did you get into Charlotte, by the way?
I got here Saturday night.
Saturday night. Okay, so you've been here a little while, and let me ask you, maybe you know, I just introduced ourselves as having broadcasting out of the PPL, the people. What's PPL?
Well, it's pronounced the people and spelled PPL, and the idea that the founders of this had is they wanted this to really be something that the people of Charlotte had access to, as well as independent media and bloggers and whatnot. So they just came up with the name The People.
Okay.
Kind of going with the internet lingo with PPL abbreviating stuff.
Oh, okay. So PPL isn't an acronym. person. It's not an acronym
No,
for
it's
anything?
not,
Okay.
no.
Good, because, well, I hate those acronyms anyway. And backfilling something to make a lot of times people say, I know what I want the acronym to be. And, we'll turn it into something else and backfill it with the name. Okay. So now Netroots Nation is a partner in the PPL?
Yeah, so we're partnering up with them, and we're kind of providing our expertise in doing events like this. We're also, we had the national connections to bloggers that were out there, and we also brought in several, sponsors to do things, people for the stages, speakers. Most of the certainly some political folks are hearing about this, but most of the political folks that are walking through are connections that we have. So people that are coming through today, like Governor Dean or Van Jones or things like that.
All right.
So,
why don't I have you come over here? I'm not getting any indication that the microphone over there is. How about now? How about let's assume we're back on the air now. Are we good?
Takes a couple seconds.
Okay. All right, here we go. It looks like Justice hears us. Okay, let me have you lean in a little bit here, and we'll switch our microphone setting. And we'll go with this. Raven, why don't we reintroduce you?
Raven Brooks with Netroots Nation here.
Okay. Now, I believe everybody was able to hear everything that you said, but it was low levels.
Gotcha.
But let me, we'll remind everybody, what kind of attendance do we have here? How many people signed up to come to the People tent? It's not even a tent. Last year, I'm thinking of the tent from Denver.
Yeah, this is a significant upgrade. We actually have air conditioning and concrete walls and things like that. So I think as far as registered guests, before we got started, it was about 400 or something people, and then we're expecting a lot of people to come through with day passes and hear about it on site and buy passes here, and that's already been happening. So it was decently full yesterday. I think today's going to be pretty crazy and packed house.
Okay, so there already were people here. And how far? We're only a couple blocks from where the business of the convention goes on. The stuff you'll see on TV at home is in the Time Warner Cable Arena. How far are we from there?
That's like a block away,
Oh.
and we're also a block or two away from the stadium where the Thursday speech will be. So
Cool.
really couldn't ask for a better location. It also happens to be outside of like the security perimeters as well, while also being close to them.
It's a significant upgrade, I think, from the big tent, which was a great achievement and a great accomplishment, I think, in logistics and Netroots power last time around. This is a very nice space, though, and I can tell you the feeling. Well, right now we're not quite as crowded yet, but things are looking good. If 400 people are registered, should be hopping in here. Or do you think we'll have the Pauls stopping by like we did last time?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them scheduled. There's a few for today, so I know we have Governor Howard Dean coming through. We have Van Jones coming through. But I know the rest of the week you have Governor Schweitzer, you have Russ Feingold was here yesterday, Jan Sikowski's coming, Governor Markell was here earlier. He's going to stop by. So just a lot of people are going to be coming through, I think, when they hear about it.
All right. Well, we'll have to pull them over here, and we'll just set up this way. Tomorrow we'll have a second one of these cool mics. We didn't get another boom, but we'll have something cool for everybody. So do direct people over here, or who knows if we'll set up here every day or not. But we'll be doing 9 to 10 here, hopefully. Yeah, we should put the sign up here. Maybe that'll work. So how's the coffee? How's the food?
Coffee's really good. It's actually this coffee's a local. This one's yours, actually.
Local. See,
The local coffee shop that they have brewing it, and it's pretty good stuff. Food is kind of like just kind of grab and go, whatever you can get. But it's a good space, and there's still restaurants open downtown, which is nice.
Yeah. Let me ask you another thing. I don't know I'm not sure what the answer is here, so we're going into uncharted territory. But I know when Netroots Nation does its own event planning, you're very conscious of the unionization, the union situation. And we're in a right-to-work state here by virtue of the fact that the DNCC chose this location. Were we able to make any different arrangements this time? What's the union situation, the people who are working at PPL? Any clue about that? I know that's not a Netroots Nation gig per se, but just wondering.
Well, it's basically the space that we're in is an office building the rest of the year, and the folks that co-founded this, they actually office their day jobs here, and there were some empty floors. There were some tenants that moved out, So I would say that as far as like the people that are cleaning the building and whatever, they're probably what the prevailing North Carolina thing is, which is probably not unionized.
Yeah.
What we've been doing is making an effort to bring labor voices into the space and put them, on the stage, because they're generally absent from the Democratic keynotes and stuff like that, and a lot of them are boycotting the convention entirely. But the ones that have chosen to be here, we felt it's really important to have them here in this space, meeting people, speaking, talking about their issues, things like that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And we have Greg coming on. And as a matter of fact, Greg is on the line. And Greg, I'm going to answer the line so I don't miss you. Hang on just a second, and we'll be right with you. All right. So I think that's an interesting dilemma that they put us in here, bringing us down to a right-to-work state. And best we can do, I suppose, like you say, bring some labor voices in. If you're here at the convention, leave a couple of bucks daily for the housekeeping staff. That's always a help, whether you're in a unionized state or not. Something I picked up from coming to these types of conventions. Didn't always know to do that before, so pick up these things at Netroots Nation. Carry them with you. They're good habits. Raven, thanks very much for coming
Thanks
by.
for having me on.
And come by again. Bring us somebody. Pull somebody over. Always come in and shout over us. And be a peanut gallery here. That's okay.
Cool.
Don't throw any peanuts. That's for the other convention.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care. Thanks very much. Greg, are you on the line with us still?
I am, and say hi to Raven before he disappears.
I
One
will.
of the all-time great, nice guys.
Raven, he's gone down the hall, but absolutely right. He gives us a nod, so we'll work with that. That's cool. How are you doing today? How are things in Connecticut?
Doing fine. It's very humid here in Connecticut. I presume even more so where you are.
It is, yes. Does any weather watchers know? Is this like Isaac remnants or just general crap humidity?
It feels like Isaac remnants. I think that's going to be spreading all over the country, And when we start at this time of year, we start feeling like it's New Orleans, And you walk outside after you took a shower, and you just have to go back in and take another one. That's unusual for up here, so we usually blame it on southern weather conditions that come north.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that. I always blame the South if possible. I know the Southerners disagree with me on that, but they're not here yet. You were with us in Denver, though, were you not?
I was not in Denver.
Oh, no. Okay. I may be thinking of another. Well, who knows? I'm mixing up between our Netroots Nation conventions. Sometimes you arrive late at those things. Sometimes not. Because, you work for a living and actually take care of people. So sometimes duty
that
calls.
does get in the way sometimes. Things like that do happen.
Armando, you know what? Why don't you test that mic again, and we'll see if Greg can hear you.
Greg, hey, good morning. Can you hear me, sir?
I can. A little bit in the background, but I can definitely hear you.
No, okay. Well, why don't you come closer to me? Why don't you sit next to me, Armando, and we'll put...
you guys are close.
Okay.
Why don't you just move closer together?
Yes, right. Why not? I think that'll work just fine. Okay, so, let me just... we'll jump in. Is there something you were working on, Armando? Or?
Oh, actually, I've been monitoring the sound, and I just heard myself, and it was a little off-putting.
But this is great now. You sound just like yourself.
Okay, terrific. Which is also sometimes, as others have said, not me,
I'm not touching it.
Okay. I have an 11-foot pole here for that.
Yeah, I
purpose.
thought about I should call you on Skype, and we'd do a three-way call, and here we'd be
We
12,
could do that.
12 inches away from each other, talking to each other on Skype,
That
which
might
would be
be
something, a Guinness Book of World
We could-
Records of absurdity.
We will test a number of different arrangements today. That'll probably help us out. Okay, so Greg, is there fresh news in polling? Are we in a sort of a silent period in between the conventions? Are people still calling people and bothering them at home? What's going on?
Well, we are a bit of a silent period in the sense that, with a holiday weekend, you have to be a little bit careful about polling. But there's lots of stuff that came out over the weekend, and I think that since you and I haven't really talked since Friday,
Yes.
it's fair to take a look at what we were speculating then, and let's take one last look at the non-bounce that Mitt Romney came out of. This morning's Iowa electronic market has Obama 65, Romney 35. That's actually a bounce for Obama. Intrade has Obama 58.2, Romney 42. That's actually an improvement for Obama. And I graphed out the Intrade because I just thought it was interesting day by day from the Republican National Convention. It looks like when Ann Romney, and especially when Chris Christie spoke about himself, the numbers for Obama went up and Romney went down, not what he wanted. Paul Ryan helped a little bit and recovered back to baseline, but once Clint Eastwood and the other guy actually had a chance to speak, and then the media took care of it for the next 3 days, there was absolutely no benefit whatsoever for Romney. If anything, Obama's numbers went up. And then the Gallup poll came out, which basically said that was the worst speech that they have ever recorded as far as the public is concerned. And that not that many people were watching the convention, and it was basically a wash. So Obama now has his highest numbers on the electronic markets that he's had since before the convention started. That would be the Republican convention. What he does in the Democratic convention remains to be seen. Nate Silver calls it a slight bump for Romney in the sense that if you take the best possible look at it, maybe he gained 2 points, 2.5 points at most, but unimpressive based on what he was expecting, which is 4 points. So we go in with a swing and a miss at the Romney side, and let's see what Obama does. Because that was the story, and you have to make it interesting, and because most media political reporters don't know how to Google, they've decided to go with their usual best efforts of Democrats in disarray and are the Clintons going to disrupt things, because those are the stories they have left. And so they're concentrating on this really stupid question of, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? If you Google, it would take you about 30 seconds to realize that in 2008, except for January, just about every month lost jobs. In January, only gained 41,000. So if you're going to look now compared to then, that's kind of a no-brainer. You don't have to ask anybody the question. You can actually answer it yourself, but we're not going there with that. They have to ask the question and decide, the surrogates are giving different answers. We asked 4 different people, and we got 4 different answers. Can you imagine that? They must be in disarray.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've been seeing people discussing are they better off 4 years ago? Are you better off now than 4 years ago question? And it is amazing that it sets up so badly for them, and yet that's their stock. That's their stock line. It's been the stock line for both parties over the years, but that's their initial, right out of the gate sort of argument. And as it happens, 4 years ago, especially if you're looking at exactly 4 years ago, where were you in the beginning of September of 2008? You were totally on the brink of disaster with the economy shedding jobs hand over fist. And you really have, now, if you have to alter the question at all and say, well, how about 5 years or 7, then you're really losing the point on that one. That line that usually serves reasonably well, at least if you have nothing else to go to, is just going to have to be trashed, it looks like.
Well, the proper answer, I think, that the public is giving, not the people who are on TV trying to make a soundbite out of it, is, compared to 4 years ago, we are better, and I blame Bush for where we were 4 years ago. Let's move on and look at other things. The public is not totally enamored of this question. They're not happy with how things are because they know that this is not a fantastic economy. It's a very, very slow and sluggish recovery. But the question is who they want to go moving forward to take care of it. The guy who fires everybody, whose idea of capitalism is let's fire half the country because that'll make the U.S. more efficient. How is that going to help jobs? Or is it going to be the guy who's basically trying to pull us back from the brink of an incredibly deep hole, was a very slow recovery, who could do more, but who's also been blocked by the other party? And so, it's not a simple question. It doesn't come out with a yes/no answer the way the media would want. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is one case where the public is far more sophisticated than the media, and I think that the polling, following the polling in terms of who's the stronger leader, and following the polling in terms of who would you rather vote for at this particular point in time, I think is much more meaningful. But my advice to the political media is, if you really want to answer the question, go Google it and answer it yourself.
Yes, you can do that now, whether you're a member of the media or not.
Everybody else is doing it. Well, why don't you do it?
It's a very interesting thing. And, it occurs to me as you're answering it or responding to that, I was thinking when the economy hasn't been good for a while. We know that. It certainly could be better. And 4 years ago was a total disaster. And everybody who remembers that period of time, if you think back to what it was like when we were teetering on the brink like that, and jobs were just being shed at every company everywhere. And lots of people, middle-class voters, independent swing voters, etc., lost jobs during that period, and it really reached everybody. And it's amazing that you now have Romney as the nominee, given that, and because I guess if you really prompt people to think back to that period and their nervousness and going to work and wondering how their company was doing and was any particular day possibly their last day at the company, and then you ask the question of who you want leading the country. I guess if the question is, do you want the management consultant who made his money trimming payrolls and firing people and laying them off in order to make the company more profitable, and that usually everybody knows translates into bonuses. Everybody has that experience. I got laid off from my job. My boss got a bonus. And do you want that guy? And I was amazed when, by the way, when Romney pulled out a whiteboard a couple of weeks ago to try to explain his tax thing. And I was like, if there's one thing working Americans, even office workers, white-collar workers don't want to see in a tense economic situation is an all-hands meeting where a management consultant comes in and goes to the whiteboard, because that usually means you're getting a box and you're being escorted to your desk and you're on the way out. So when you ask the question, who would you rather vote for, who do you feel more comfortable with getting us out of this sort of sluggish economy? Do you want the guy who's going to come in and say the thing to do is to cut to the bone and try and survive and let the executives take what they take and we'll hold on with a skeleton crew of executives? Or do you want the guy who says, I think we can invest and push our way through this? It's going to hurt for a while, and we may have to borrow to do it. But, you know, everybody wants to work in the second guy's company, it seems. And I guess that'll be the theme for the convention this week. I hope that they'll push that and say, you know, we'll be investing in the future and trying to get out the other end of this thing together, as opposed to the guys who last week campaigned like America was on the decline. And I know they were saying they were going to try and save it, but nobody really wants to turn on the TV and find out their country is going to hell, has gone to hell, or that they think it's going to hell. I'm hoping the positive message works here, because as tough as it will be to sell it, it's the only alternative I can think of. I don't know. That's not a polling point.
We're going to step back and watch and see what they do. You know, my theory has been, as you know, that we're kind of fixed. We've been fixed for about 5 months.
Yeah.
And I didn't think the Republican convention was going to change that many minds. I don't know that the Democratic convention will either, although I'm looking forward to it because this is a win-win situation. If it stays the way it is, we're slightly ahead. If it helps, then that's all the more helpful. But 2 articles in the remaining time I have. I know you have a shortened show today, and I want to give Armando a chance to ask some questions too. One was written by John Sides and published in Washington Monthly. Do presidential debates really matter? John Sides is a political scientist who also blogs at the Monkey Cage. I love following him because he has some very good insight as to all of this. And his subheading here is, remember all the famous moments in past debates that changed the outcome of those elections? Well, they didn't. And he's got some pretty good data from the political sciences suggesting that actually the conventions are a little bit more important than the debates are. The reason is, during each convention you get to concentrate all the good news in one place on one guy, and then you don't pay attention to the other guy. Well, at least that's true for Republicans. For Democrats, they like to do the Democrats in disarray no matter what's going on.
Right.
But there'll be some good news coming out of the Democratic convention, and people will see that for themselves when they look at it in prime time. The debates, on the other hand, are more split, and the people who tend to watch are the people who are partisans and are interested and are already made up their mind anyway. So how much the debates are going to matter, I don't know. But if that's the case, and everything is kind of fixed, then we're just going to move on for the next couple of months, barring some, major upset like Greece, Italy, Germany, and China and Japan, withholding their money from the entire, global market. But short of that, it's not so clear things are going to change that much. The other thing that I think was really interesting that happened over the weekend and over the past week is something we talked about last week, starting with a Ron Fournier Floodgate article about how dishonest and racially tinged the welfare attacks from the Romney-Ryan campaign were. There's really amazing coverage of Paul Ryan's speech and the fact that it really wasn't all that honest. And you could argue about whether it was an outright lie or it was just political dishonesty. but he's really damaged his brand a tremendous amount. That was not expected. He had the reputation of being a wonk, deserve it or not. He had the reputation of being a straight shooter, deserve it or not. And in fact, some of the hypocrisy about the Janesville plant closing really hurt him, because that's a demonstrable. You knew it wasn't true. You lived there, and you told a lie. And then the more arguable, but still kind of bogus Simpson-Bowles commission that he was on, that he voted against, that he claimed that Obama ignored. Of course, he ignored it too. These sort of things hurt your brand. Yeah. And going forward, it's hard to see how they've held themselves with not just the convention itself, looking at the immediate bounces or non-bounces or whatever, but the message that comes out of that. What do you remember about last week? I remember Clint Eastwood in the empty chair. I'm not sure I remember much else, except that Ryan was really caught telling a whole bunch of untruths in prime time that he got nailed on. That's what I remember from last week.
And the one thing that actually moved my dad to email me was the marathon business, which wasn't even on television. I don't even know how he got himself to step in that mess. But, yeah, he apparently told Hugh Hewitt on the radio somewhere that he had run, well, probably most people know this story, but he had run a sub-3-hour marathon, but he wasn't sure what the time was, which, by the way, is, a 2 hour and 50-something minute marathon, as he said, is, approaching elite class racing. And he didn't do that. And as it turns out, it offended runners everywhere. And Runner's World, of all places, the magazine, decided to investigate, because stats are kept pretty closely on marathons around the country, because you use them for qualifying for elite races like the Boston Marathon. So they actually keep an eye on what you're doing out in Midwestern marathons, because you can use that as a qualifier. And it turns out he wasn't under 3 hours. He was over 4 hours, which is an entirely different kind of thing. And so my dad, who trained for years to run these marathons, was bitterly offended about this. It was very funny that he just piled that on top of things. No one should care about that, but when it comes on top of a pile of lies about policy, that doesn't help you very much. And then, of course, the Republican response to that was that Runner's World is part of the liberal media conspiracy against Republicans. That's not going to
because they publish, and all publishing companies must, by definition, be part of the vast liberal conspiracy.
We'll call on Sarah
the point is that if you lie about your own personal characteristics, and believe me, I'm not one, but I know runners, and they know their times.
Oh, yes.
And the idea that you wouldn't know your time just shows you're not a runner.
Yeah, you can't get to 250 without knowing your time.
You can't have it both true at the same time. That's like Schrodinger's cat there.
Right.
So it sets up the idea, well, if he lies about that, maybe he's lying about this other stuff too. Oh, let me look into it. Oh, yes, he is. So that's really been the discussion. But the media themselves appear to be doing a much better job of challenging the idea that fact-checking is passé. And I think that the Romney camp threw the gauntlet by very stupidly saying to the media, I don't care about your fact-checking. We don't need your stinking fact-checking, right, from the Magnificent Seven. And so the media said, oh, well, let's see. And I think that's where we're at now.
Well, Armando has a good point that it's like a fish story. Although there's a long tradition of fibbing and fish stories. That would be a safe place to lie. Almost everybody understands that one. When it comes to times and marathons, that's not going to do it. But and he's a hunter, right? He should know that. Although I wonder whether hunters lie about the best buck they ever shot.
Well,
probably not.
I saw on Twitter, and I'd love to give credit to it, but I can't remember who said it. I think a more apt sports analogy is this is like lying about your handicap in golf, and GOP gentlemen simply don't do that.
The points.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, sandbagging, although there's a tradition even of that too. But when it comes to runners, they're obsessive about times. They know how long it takes to get breakfast, and they know the splits. It is worse. I mean, my dad was up in arms about the things he said on TV, but there was nothing he called me about until the runners thing.
Now, the whole thing about running, I know he's talking.
Yeah. Oh, no, you want to chime in, Armando?
Yeah, I just think that the thing about running that's different than the golf analogy is golf has mulligans and 19th holes. It's a bunch of old white, rotund white guys playing golf. Whereas runners, they work hard. You know how hard it is to be ready to run a marathon? It's actually just run it. Forget about your time.
Yeah.
Just running 26 miles. then running 4 hours.
Right.
That's really hard.
Well, yeah.
To say that you ran sub 3?
Yeah. Well, that's a huge claim. And I guess the difference is, in casual golfing, I suppose there's some tradition of a little bit of cheating too. And there's casual running and there's regular running. But all there is in road racing, whether you're competitive or not, is the time. That's all you can measure it by. There's no, and you can at least say I'm out for a nice walk and I like hitting golf balls, and who cares if I improve my lie once in a while. Whereas there's no like casual out for fun marathoning. People don't do that. Well, Greg,
I suppose you shouldn't tell a bowler you bowled 305 either.
That's another problem. We should ask them offhand whether do doctors ever lie about I cured cancer or anything?
I'll pass on that.
Okay. Well, there are probably some who would do that, and we try and take their licenses away when we find them. There's no license for running, but maybe there ought to be. But that would just be big government nanny state nonsense. So maybe we're not into it. I don't know. All right, Greg. I don't know whether you got to run, but we're certainly glad you were able to stop by. We're going to try and set up something maybe during one of these afternoons where we can get Steve Singeiser on with you. I saw a tweet from Margie O'Maro that she's on hand somewhere here too. Maybe we can pull her in. That would be a fun discussion.
Wonderful.
I think.
Yeah, Margie did a panel with us at our last Nesters Nation. She's a wonderful speaker, and if you can get her in, she'd be a great interview.
Yeah, I think so. And you're always a great interview, Greg. It's great to have you with us, and the easy way of getting good information and getting us through our first broadcast here. Thanks for being available.
I'm here so you guys can have your coffee and get your booms set up and all that sort of stuff. Are we doing this again tomorrow then? 9 o'clock?
Yes, we will. And if you got a second before you go, Armando wanted to chime in with something.
Yeah, just about sure. Margie. Margie was on Fox the other day, and I don't know. I think I sent you an email on it. And she was terrific, really good. People should get it out there. It's a textbook example of how a Democrat should act on Fox.
We'll have to grab that audio. Maybe we can play that on the show. Okay, yeah, I think same time tomorrow will be fine. If you're up for it, Greg, we're always up for it too.
Well, we'll see you then. Take care.
Thank you. You do the same. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, everybody. So we head into the second half hour of Kagro in the morning. Maybe we'll do it without breaks today because it's just that 1 hour. But if we need to, we'll jump off. Let me say this, too. I do, at least technically speaking, have the phone lines up and running. Do you want to give us a call from home and chime in and have something to say? I don't really know. I don't know what you're going to say from home. But I'm curious to find out, or if maybe there's somebody you want us to try and pull in as a guest, or you just want to say hi and wish us good luck with the bed bugs and whatnot. The area code is 617. It's 500-7147. 617-500-7147, extension 14, as always. And the Autobot, the ANBot 3000, will tell you when you're unmuted, and when you hear that you are on the air with us. Don't hesitate, jump right in. The hotel situation, some of you maybe who are watching on Twitter found out, we originally got booked into a hotel, which we'll do them a favor and let them remain nameless, because I didn't inspect it myself, so I can't swear to you, but boy, all reports were that we were booked into something of, let's be generous and call it a flea bag, a roach motel, a flop house. Those were all descriptions that were in the online reviews for this place, and they said avoid it at all costs. And yet, when these conventions, they book every hotel room, typically speaking, within like 20 miles, because they have just thousands and thousands of people coming, and you get assigned a hotel sort of by lottery if you're a delegate in particular. So if your state delegation gets booked at X hotel, and that's that. And I kind of thought, based on an experience from the 2008 convention, that it was sort of the same. We were booked, and that was it, and there wasn't another hotel room to be had, and they booked this place, and tough luck. And then, of course, if it turns out, as the date approached and we heard more about it being kind of a dive, I checked out, isn't that a problem these days with hotels? Bed bugs? Turns out there's a bed bug registry online, and I went, and sure enough, it's a hit. But then I thought, how accurate is that? Because I've been in a couple other hotels recently, and they were very nice. And just for an experiment, I checked those out, and they were hits too. It affects everybody, everywhere. But I don't know. It felt a lot more dangerous in a flop house in a sketchy neighborhood. The things that were said about it. So Armando and I scrambled at the last minute, and we moved out. We're at separate places, though, so we'll see if we can't get in the same spot. But, just one of those convention stories.
I would tell them a parking story, but I don't want to spoil our little secret, so sorry, that's not going out in the air.
Right. We took a helicopter in and
Exactly.
dropped off onto the... It's actually been pretty good. I will say this. Charlotte, I wondered what a convention in Charlotte might be like. I had been to 2 conventions before. New York City, 1992, and I don't think anybody has any serious doubts about the capacity of New York City to absorb that many visitors, put them up in hotels, feed them, move them around, etc., although the traffic is obviously always a concern. And I was in Denver. And Denver, I thought, was pretty well situated for something like that, too. And I wondered, I've never been to Charlotte, I don't think I even knew anybody who had been to Charlotte. So I had my questions about, what's the traffic like there? What does it mean if our hotel is 10 miles away? What's it going to be like? And then I heard street closures, which is, obviously something you're always going to expect for a major event like this. And it was smooth as silk getting in here today.
Until tomorrow, when now everyone's heard us, they're all going to do it, and it's going to be backed up.
Right. So if you're interested in coming in, don't stay away. Listen to Daily Coast Radio. And be sure, by the way, if you don't know, tune in to us, if you can, on Sirius XM today. Now, if you are a subscriber to Sirius XM, you can listen to our show on the Convention Radio channel, which is, I believe, on Sirius's network is 123, and on XM's network is 142. I don't know why they still maintain. I don't know the logistics of how they work, but 123 and 142, Sirius versus XM. But it is also available on Sirius Left Plus, which is the online channel. Now, I put up in the post on the front page of Daily Coast today that there was a channel number associated with it in the 800s, which I did not understand because it is an online channel, and then there was this other channel associated with it. But if you have Sirius XM, maybe you know what the hell they're talking about.
Channel 853.
Yes, 853. Thank you, Armando, because I'll be honest with you, I am not a Sirius XM subscriber, but maybe my own show will make me change my mind, although by the time I turn it on to hear the replay, which comes on this afternoon, I will already have heard the show because I will have said it. It came out of my mouth, so I already knew. I won't be surprised, but whatever. You never know what you're going to end up listening to. But if you are not a Sirius XM subscriber currently, you can get a free trial for the week. And in the post that would go up at 9 o'clock or maybe a little bit before, you can check it out. I got a link there. You can sign up for the free trial, and you can listen into the show. Armando and I will be, 7-day free trial, so that covers the convention. Armando and I will be on from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So wherever you are, do the calculations if you need to figure it out. And the show repeats later in the afternoon. And I think I forgot to put that time up in the most recent post. But why don't we grab that? And I think we're on again from... Are we on 4 to 6?
4 to 6, Tuesday
and Wednesday.
Today and tomorrow. Then Thursday they have some boring Kennedy thing with David Gregory, which... Okay, serious, you should really listen to that. No, you shouldn't. Forget it.
But they will rebroadcast our second hour, I believe, of our show.
I'll be very excited.
At 5. But we'll update you on that, so if you happen to miss it, you can catch it later on. But if you can get that free trial in place, try and do that before noon and get ready. And we'll be broadcasting that one, not from the People workspace, but inside the convention center, the Time Warner Cable, whatever they call it, arena. Is that what they call it? Hi, Mary. How you doing? We have Mary Rickles wandering by from Netrunner Station. If you want to come over here and shout hi to people, you can do that. Mary. Hey, why don't you say we had Raven on?
Hey, everyone.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Okay. How's this week been for you?
It's been great. We're expecting a full house today. Got drop-bys from a number of elected officials. So looking forward to seeing Senator Schumer and Senator Durbin and Van Jones and Governor Dean and some of those folks come through here.
Cool. Maybe we'll scoot them by here. We're going to do another afternoon hour sometime.
Yeah.
Or we could always record something, too.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure they'll be mobbed, but I'll have to get out the microphone that you can stick in people's faces and interview the questions. Well, what about your gaffes? I should just ask that of everybody. That's the classic not. Although that was actually asked once. Didn't somebody actually shout that out to Romney? What about your gaffes?
That's funny.
Which was like, are you really a reporter? I don't know. So how many? Raven was telling us that we have 400 registrants.
I think
right?
it's about 500 folks who are registered for full week passes. We had about 150 folks yesterday come through just for the day, and I think we're expecting that number to go up. So I think throughout the week we'll see probably over 1,000 people come through this space.
Okay, and I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but maybe if you got off the top of your head, do you remember any names, any the bloggers we may know or folks that were coming through?
Yeah, I mean a lot of the folks who are part of the Netroots Nation Daily Coast community here. C.S. Kendrick, Chris Kendrick is in here. Baratunde and Cheryl Conti from Jack and Jill are here. Obviously, a bunch of Daily Coast folks. Lots of state level bloggers and folks from everywhere from California to North Carolina. So.
Okay.
Lots of people.
And where's the good places to eat around here? Have you found what's the hot
I don't know.
spot?
They haven't let me leave the building yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at coffee and donuts and stuff. They got
Actually,
nice coffee bars.
there's a place about a mile from here that has really great barbecue that we checked out a couple of nights ago.
Right. Well, I'll have to do that.
So.
We'll definitely do that. But in here,
Chick-fil-A I hear is pretty good.
oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we'll go there on Wednesday. Look for Rick Santorum and see if he's there. How about this year? Now, one of the things I missed, or maybe I won't miss, from the big tent in Denver, they had the New Belgium Brewing Company.
They're coming back. So tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday night, starting at 6, New Belgium will be pouring free beer for everyone in the building.
That is free beer, legitimately, honest to God, free beer.
Belgian beer.
Yeah. And then starting at 6 to kind of ease the transition into the coverage starting at 7, we've got Baratunde and Alon James White and Juliana Forlano, 3 awesome Laughing Liberally comics doing some comedy up here on the stage in this room. So,
in this room?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so we'll be on hand. Maybe we can even broadcast some of that. We'll have to see what our schedule's like. Okay, great. Thanks for stopping by, Mary.
Yeah, no problem.
Come by anytime, make a comment, bring somebody with you.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Will do.
Thanks for all your help. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
It's nice. You can kind of sit here and have people wandering by, and that's very helpful. I'm hopeful that the same situation will be found on Radio Row inside of the Time Warner Cable Arena when we're broadcasting for Sirius XM. And I did mention that we might try, this is sort of up in the air, but we're going to give it a shot at broadcasting again in the afternoon. And, it's very difficult to predict schedules and where you're going to be at a convention like this. If those of you who have been either to other Democratic conventions or to Netroots Nation, perhaps you're familiar with the idea that sometimes it's tough to know where you're going to be. We're going to try and bring you another shot to give you a flavor of what's going on here. And, that's the best I can say is we're going to target 5 p.m. and try and take the 5 to 6 block. And, depending on what's going on with the other Netroots Radio folks and what they're running and what they'd like to do, we'll see if we can be a little bit flexible with it, too. So it has been an experience, let's say, getting ready for the show. We are 9:45. We're going to broadcast for another 15 minutes or so and see what other guests we can bring. We have Rachel Collier, by the way, is here, our assistant campaign director, and she's working, so she's not ready to come on the air. So she's actually out there campaigning for you. Every once in a while, you'll notice it in your mailbox. Shows up a campaign email, either from Chris Bowers or one of the rest of us. Chris is our campaign director, and Rachel works with him, and is the one that makes things tick. That's all right. You don't have to come on here. I told everybody you're working and working hard, and that's true. And what's on your computer here? I see you've put your initials in nice, rhinestone-ish things on your Apple. What's the blockhead thing?
It's my robot friend.
Robot friend. Does that come from anything in particular? It reminds me, my son plays a lot of Minecraft, and they've got some kind of crazy thing that looks like that. And I was like, I'm doubting that Rachel's playing Minecraft with my 12-year-old son, but you never know. Civilization. Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
Dave, I thought what might be interesting for the audience might be what we get is our little pack of what all the different political Beltway publications are saying.
Yes. They put them out
I
here
thought I'd
for
just show
free.
you a few of the headlines.
At all the hotels where people are staying for the convention, they have the lobby is littered in Politico and the local paper, which is the
Politico
Charlotte
has a
Observer.
nice sort of
Cartoonish rendering of, I guess, the aftermath of the Republican convention, which is a little odd to hand out here at the Democratic convention. In fact, it says Republican National Convention on the bottom. So those of you who wondered where Politico's loyalties lie, they come to the Democratic National Convention with a big banner front page of the Republican convention. Thank you, Politico. The Hill is also being distributed here. Feeling pretty confident, the big headline. President Obama arrives in Charlotte with reason to be cheerful. Despite high unemployment, polls suggest he's on course to win another term. The challenge is to persuade voters he deserves 4 more years to deliver the hope he promised in 2008. By somebody else named Neil, who's not the Neil who everybody was angry at last week. What was that guy's name? I'm terrible with names. Everybody remember that one? If you do, you can call us and let us know. Okay, CQ Weekly, also being distributed, cover of Obama, second act. Obama banks on a harder edge against the GOP as both a means to re-election and a more effective way to advance his agenda. This is what's being distributed. This is what's being read by the delegates as they get up in the morning. Usually, you get a USA Today outside the front of your hotel room. Instead, we get these things. So it's interesting. The city changes. It was interesting, too, when we walked down the street from our parking lot over to the PPL, the people, I should just call it the people. It's easy enough. Security guards for the buildings that we were passing, that would normally be out in the lobby, were out on the sidewalk kind of greeting people. So they're making a real nice effort to be sort of friendly and welcoming, which is very nice. And you can ask, all your questions and ask for directions and how much is your parking lot and is it open all day and can I park my car here and go out to parties at night? I got what we need to find out about is the public transportation. And it actually seems to be pretty well coordinated. There's a bus line that runs like right to here from outside my hotel, which I did not know when I booked it. And it's fantastic. And I think I can get an express bus from door to door in like 15 minutes. So we may try that tomorrow, just to be kind of green and cool and hip and urban and whatnot. As Raven mentioned, the coffee is being brewed downstairs and up here in this room by a local brewer. Not a beer brewer. The beer brewer we're bringing in from Colorado. But hey,
but he's doing the Belgian style.
Point is, you have a few, and you can say it's from wherever you want. Speaking of local and stuff like that, I brought with me, and I'm willing to use it as a bribe at some point. I was wondering if I was going to get a hotel room, and I thought I would have to bribe my way into a hotel room with the Virginia delegation. So I brought with me, and this is because I was coming to an urban hipster event of some sort. I brought with me 2 bottles of my locally sourced organic rye that from Catoctin Creek Distillery in Loudoun County, Virginia. I brought 2 bottles. I brought the organic Roundstone Rye, which is oaked and has that nice color, and I brought the Mosby's Spirit clear distilled rye, and that looks dangerous. And also, I don't know whether I didn't know how. I mean, look, that's the name of it. There's nothing I could do about it. But I was a little worried about bringing Mosby's Spirit to a Democratic convention. John Mosby, for those of you who don't know, a Confederate guerrilla who operated in
terrorist.
That's what we would call them today, a partisan guerrilla terrorist. And now my liquor is named after him. But
he was like Bedford Forrest.
As you know, it's not hate; it's heritage down south.
Exactly.
So okay, I only have a caller on the line. Let's try and do that. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear him, Armando, but you can monitor the radio. Let's bring him on. 207. I don't recognize the area code. Let's check it out. All right, hey caller, how you doing? Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Did you say Nigeria?
Nigeria. No, I did not. But are you calling from Nigeria, and do you need us to wire you any money?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, it's Bill in Portland. How you guys doing?
Hey, Bill. How you doing? Are you in Nigeria right now?
You're cutting in and out.
Okay. How about now?
Hello?
You able to hear us?
I can kind of hear you, but you're cutting in and out.
Okay. Well, audio's a little bit difficult, but it's good to hear from you.
Well, I'm glad you've got a new hotel, first and foremost.
Thank you. Yes.
That sounded pretty awful. But before we start following the Democratic convention this week, I wanted to just kind of wrap up some unfinished business from the Republican convention. Because
Okay.
it seems to me that before that one started, the Republicans were so absolutely sure they had their messages in line and that everything was going to be great and all that they predicted, I believe they swore on a stack of polls that they were going to get an 11-point bounce. And I've been sort of away for a while, so I'm just curious if you guys know, how did that 11-point bounce go?
It did not go. I think if you're talking about them wanting an 11-point bounce, according to Greg, they had a negative bounce. And in fact, Obama's numbers improved after that convention. And Clint Eastwood's numbers declined as well. So, they did not deliver on that. They did not have the math. It didn't work. And the guy with the math was called out for threatening to assassinate Todd Aiken, too. Not cool.
Well, golly, how can we believe anything they say now?
It will be awfully
difficult. If
difficult.
their 11th bounce, boy, that would have given them stability. But if they didn't even get a 1 point, how can we believe anything the Republicans say from this point forward?
It is remarkably foolish for them to have done it, and everybody knows. Anybody who's watched politics at all will tell you that the game typically is to undersell and downplay expectations. Where they got the idea that they were going to do well by promising anything, much less an 11-point bounce, when historically nobody gets that. Clinton got a big giant bounce, but it had more to do with the fact that, it was a three-way race, and then the convention went so well that Ross Perot said he was going to drop out. That's what created, and he had like a 16-point bounce. To say Romney...
Just to correct the record, he was going to drop out because George Herbert Walker Bush was sending gamma rays to his
daughter's wedding
or something.
Right. His daughter's wedding numbers, her numbers went down as well. But, nobody gets that, and nobody gets a 10-plus point bounce. It doesn't happen, and I am shocked that anybody would have said that they would do that. And maybe, you know what? I figured it out. The reason they did so poorly was they threw the Maine delegation out, didn't they?
Yeah, that was quite, wasn't it?
U.S.
Yeah. Were that like a bunch of your neighbors? I assume that all your neighbors are Tea Parties.
The Maine Republican Party up here is just in complete disarray. They don't know where they're going. Even the governor boycotted the convention in Tampa because of that, because of the way the Ron Paulites were treated. So, the RNC just basically stopped half of their delegates and said, get out of here. So, but anyhow, that's all I wanted to call in. As disappointed as I am that they promised an 11-point bounce and get one. It's like, what am I going to tell all the children up here who were promised, an 11-point bounce, and now they got nothing? I don't even know what to say to them.
Santa
I'm
Claus
just really disappointed
says
this morning in the Republican Party, and that's why I'm voting Democratic in November.
An excellent point. Yes, thank you very much. And tell all the kids a Republican Santa Claus says, screw you. You're getting coal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to give them a lot of candy.
Clean coal, though. You're getting clean coal, kids.
You're getting a Jewish soul.
And the Jewish soul as well, apparently. Old Jewish soul was a merry old... Where are we with this? I don't know. Okay.
That's it. I'll explain that reference in a second.
Yes, thank you very much for calling in. I will try and work on improving audio for calls in. I appreciate that you would call in. And when
you guys have fun.
Thank you. We'll do that, and we'll have extra fun for you and for Michael and for everybody up there in Maine who's not with us and we miss very much. And let's try and get you on the air a little more regularly, too. I know that was suggested and you reacted positively to it. Let's see if we can't make that happen in the future.
All right.
Not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Take care, Bill.
Later.
That's a nice. Thanks for stopping by. That was 207. See, okay, that's the main area code? I'll have to keep that in mind. I'm getting used to some of the area codes. John from Texas usually calls, and I think he's a 210. When I see his 210 come up, I have a good guess that it's John.
As long as it's not 202, we're okay.
Yeah, right. 202. It's a Beltway. Hang up. So, okay, the hour has flown here, but what do you got?
So just one thing, we haven't actually talked about what's coming up on the convention today. Today is actually two important speeches. The First Lady, Michelle Obama, front page of the Charlotte Observer is Michelle's message. The First Lady will step into the spotlight to illuminate the President's vision, but she won't go on the attack. Shocking, because, frankly, First Ladies don't attack. And that's it. The other big speaker today is Julian Castro, the mayor of San Antonio. Just to prove to Chuck Todd that, I don't know if you saw this, your former intern last week said that...
Chuck Todd, yes, okay.
That the Democrats wish they could have had as diverse a group of speakers as the Republicans did. That was only the second stupidest thing said last week, because the stupidest thing said last week was Gloria Borger said that Mitt Romney suffered very dangerous conditions in 1968.
Oh, yes.
Not because he was in Vietnam, but because he was in Paris.
Yes.
I kid you not.
Right, because they hated Americans.
Tommy Christopher at Mediate did a tremendous takedown of CNN and Gloria Borges. So Chuck Todd said the second stupidest thing. But to get back to the point...
Berets are pointy on the top, by the way.
Right.
No joke. They're rounded corners, but if they headbutt you, you're doomed.
Julian Castro, the mayor of San Antonio, is the first of our many diverse speakers. Michelle Obama, of course, in case you didn't know, is an African American.
Yes.
The president himself, I think, is black.
As well, yes. That's two.
That's two. I think Antonio Villagrosa is the mayor of Los Angeles. He's Latino. I think he might be speaking.
Black Jewish Sammy Davis soul.
And by the way,
yes.
I'm staying at the hotel I'm staying at has a Louisiana delegation. A bunch of great people from New Orleans. They seem to be African American to me too. So I've seen a fair amount of diversity, Chuck Todd, at the convention so far. Maybe you saw more a darker shade of pale at Tampa, but I don't think so.
Let me get it. Democrats wish they had the diversity
of speakers that the Republicans had, because they had Marco Rubio and the Mormon woman from Utah, who was the mayor of some town in Utah.
All right.
And Condi Rice.
3. All right. Well, I wish we had that. We don't. We have something much better. I think we are, by the way, coming up on the end of our hour, which went very quickly, and maybe we'll be able to do a little bit of extended broadcast tomorrow. We're just experimenting on logistics here, and we kind of got to get over and check in with SiriusXM. But do check us out. The reproductive rights documentary that aired a little bit last week will also be coming up next on Netroots Radio. And let me start rolling the outro just so everybody knows that we're finally getting out. Is that playing? I don't even hear it now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in my built-in output. So let me throw that through my earphones so I can hear that too. I don't know. I don't hear it going.
I don't hear it again.
Well, what can you do? Okay. Look, we'll have to roll without it. I'm not really sure what happened here. But point is, we'll be up next on SiriusXM at 12 noon Eastern Time. And we'll be on from 12 to 2. You can catch us there. I'm pretty sure our outro will play there. And we'll be okay. And we'll get the kinks ironed out, but I think we're giving you a taste for what's going on here, and that's really, that's the best we can do, and that's all we're really about here.
We'll do better tomorrow.
We'll do better, but some of the taste of what's happening here is a little bit of chaos. That's the reality of things. And if you're missing out on the convention, we want to bring some of that chaos to you. That's not so bad. That's not a bad thing, right? You can live with that. Okay, so Justice, if you are standing by, we'll count it down, and let's say we'll hand it to you in 30 seconds or so. And we'll see you guys hopefully this afternoon, definitely tomorrow, and definitely get that free preview, that free opportunity to check out what's going on Sirius, and find us on the Sirius Left Plus online channel. You can find all the links you need on the front page of the Daily Kos in our Daily Kos Radio post from this morning. All right. Signing off, it's David Waldman and Armando Lorenz for Daily Kos Radio on the Kagro in the Morning Show, and we'll try and get back at you this afternoon. Justice, if you will, please, take it away, and we will see you either later or tomorrow. Hang on, guys. We'll get through it.